Welcome back to another week of using BandLab. So since we've already made our accounts, you're just going to go to login this time in the top right corner. And you're going to log in with your email and password that you used last time. For me, I had it saved mine. If you need to type yours in, you can do so. And just a reminder to get back to your class and your assignments. In the middle, you see summer class. So you click on summer class. Once summer class is loaded, today we'll be working on our automation lesson, which is lesson 2. So today we're going to be learning about the automation tool. The way this tool works is it allows us to control something called pan, which refers to the direction that we hear things, either left or right. It also allows us to control volume gradually, so we can set it to change volume throughout. And the last thing we'll be learning how to do is how to add different effects. So to get started, you're going to go ahead and click on Start Assignment. And please make sure to click Teacher's Assignment. A template has already been set up for you with the song in it, and we're going to edit the different features of this song. So it's going to prepare and load up the audio. And as you can see, we already have a song set for us in this assignment. So I'm just going to play it real fast so you all can hear it. So that is the song we are going to be working with today. So to start us off, we need to take a look at a few of the different tools. So last week we learned how to adjust volume by moving this slider back and forth. Now when I do it this way, it only lets me set it to be whatever volume for the entire song. But if I have sections where I want things to get louder or get softer, then this will not help me. So instead, we use something called automation. Automation is a tool that essentially lets us program the different effects we want to happen with our music. So above our tracks here on the left side, there is something that almost kind of looks like a wrench, but it's just lines with 2 dots on it. So I'm going to click on that. And when I click on it, all of a sudden, I have these white lines that appear all over my song. So this is automation. Basically, the way it works is I can set points by clicking on the line. And I can move the line up or down to change different things. Right now, it's set to control my volume. If I want to undo a point, I can just click this back button at the top. And it undoes whatever I last did. So right now with my automation window up, I see I have 2 options. I can control my volume and I can control the pan. So if I take a look at my assignment brief, let's take a look at something with volume. Okay, automate the volume on the air effects to start soft and then get louder. So last week, so here's my air effects, this is my track. So I can see this is where I want it to start soft and then get louder. So if I play that section just to hear what it sounds like, right, let me solo it so I hear only this track. Right, so we have that kind of air building up. So it wants me to automate the volume to start soft and get louder. So in terms of volume, right now I'm at 0, which means I'm not making it louder and I'm not making it softer. So if I wanted to start it soft, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag it down. Right, so anything negative is soft. Just use your ears as you play it in context to hear if it's too soft or not. And then if I want it to gradually get louder, I'm going to make another point at the end of it, and I'm going to raise it up. Right, I'll just put it at plus 0.1 for now, just because it was a pretty loud effect to begin with. So if I listen to it now, I should hear that growth. So it got louder. Now if I listen to it in context, so I remove the solo and I hear it with the entire song. Oh my God! I can hear that it gets louder there. So that's how I automate the volume in that way. So now let's talk about the panning. Panning works in a very similar way. So if I want to pan the build-up and guitar slightly to the right, so I'm going to look for build-up guitar. It's this track here. And I want it slightly to the right. So there's a difference between all the way to the right and slightly to the right. So if I take a look at this knob, this is pan. It shows left, it shows right. So slightly to the right would be about halfway, right? Or about 25. That's about halfway between the right and the middle. If it asks me to pan it hard right, then that means I would click on it, I would move my mouse up, and I would go pan it hard right all the way to 50. So that if I listen to this now, I'm only going to hear it out of the right side of my headphones. And the same thing is if I click on it and drag it to a hard pan left, now I'll only hear it out of the left side of my headphones. Right? So I'm actually going to do this with automation. Okay, so I could use the knob, but I want to do it with the automation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my automation tool again, right here above the tracks. And instead of doing the volume, I'm going to click on my build-up guitar track. I'm going to do the pan. So this controls my left versus my right. Now again, if I look in my assignment brief, and if this isn't open, you just click the assignment brief button on the bottom to turn it green, and it opens. It wants me to automate the pan on the build-up guitar slightly to the right. So slightly means I'm going to go about halfway, which is 25. So works the same way. I'm going to make a dot. And now here's where I have to be careful. I want it to start panned halfway to the right. So I have to make a second dot. And I'm going to put it to about plus 25. It doesn't have to be perfectly on 25. It should just be close. And I'm going to start at the beginning like that. Okay. The reason I do it this way is because then from the get-go, it is panned where I want it. If I made my dot towards the end, and I'm just going to do it to 50 to demonstrate this, you're going to hear it slowly starts to pan to the right, but I want it to start right away. So here's what it's like if it's gradually or slowly panning to the right. Right? It's panning to the right slowly, but I want it to kind of start there already. So again, around plus 25, it doesn't have to be perfect. 28 is fine for now. And this way, it starts where I want it to start. So now let's take a look at the next thing. Automate the pan on drums 1. This is drums 1 right here. You can see the title of the track, drums 1. This is drums 2. Oops. I accidentally made something happen, so I'm just going to undo that. So this is drums 2 here. This is telling me to go on drums 1. To go hard left and hard right every 4 hits. Okay? So the easiest way I can do this is if I close my assignment brief just by clicking the button. I can use my zoom tool, and I can zoom in. And I'm going to split the track every 4 hits. And you can see the hits as what we call these waveforms, where the lines are not flat. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to drag my slider to be after the 4th one, where there's a flat line. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm going to right click my box, and I'm going to slice it. So when I slice it, you can see it kind of separates them, right? I can drag them separate from each other now. So I'm just going to do that throughout every 4 hits. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Right click, slice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right click, slice. Let me move over to the right so I can see more of this. 1, 2, 3, 4, right click, slice. 1, 2, 3, 4, right click, slice. 1, 2, 3, 4, right click, slice. Now, if I take a look at what happens next, I can see that my hits get closer together. Okay, so as they get closer together, especially when we get here, we can pull up a window to make it a little bit bigger so it's easier to see. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to click it 2 times. When I click it 2 times, I can see it makes my window nice and big at the bottom, so it's easier to see. So same thing, I'm going to go every 4 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4. After the 4th one, right click, slice. 1, 2, 3, 4. After my 4th one, I will right click, slice. Okay, now here's where I need to really make sure I'm counting carefully. There's 1, 2, 3. The 4th one ends about right there. All right, I'm in between the diamonds, essentially, is what they are. They're kind of like diamonds. So I'm in between the diamonds, right click, slice. I do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. In between the diamonds after the 4th one, about there, slice. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. In between the diamonds, somewhere around there, slice. Okay, so, and then I have this unnecessary red line at the end. You don't have to do anything with it, but if it bothers you, you can, like we learned about last week, just shorten it so that red line's not there. So what I've done is I've separated my drums 1 track into groups of 4. All right, there's 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've double checked there in groups of 4. Okay, so I'm going to open my assignment brief again. And it wants me to automate pan on the drums 1 to go hard left, hard right every 4 hits. It doesn't matter which direction you start with. So you can start with the left, and after 4 hits, it goes to right. Does 4 hits, goes back to left. Now these have to be more sudden changes. So let's go ahead and go back to our automation tool. Remember, we're doing pan, right? So I'm going to click on pan. I'm going to turn off my solo on the build-up so I can hear my drum, and let's just solo the drum. Okay, so let's say I want to start. I make a dot, I'll drag it to the beginning. I'll just start right. Positive is right, negative is left. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually, right after my 4th hit, I'm going to make another dot. See how this dot isn't at where this little break is, where I split it, but it's a little bit before. The reason for that is I'm going to make another dot at the point where I split, and I'm going to drag it all the way to the left so that it's a sudden change from right, positive 50, to left, negative 50. So let's do that again. I'm going to find my 4th hit. There's where I sliced it. So I'm going to go a little bit before where I sliced it. I make another one about where I sliced it. And I'm going to drag that one all the way up to positive 50. So if I listen to this part so far, it should go right, left, right. Okay, so let's move this over a little bit more. And I can keep doing that. I'm going to make a dot a little bit before, a dot right on the switch, drag it down, and then I have this kind of back and forth thing happening. Okay, so I'll keep that going. A dot a little bit before, a dot a little bit after, drag all the way up, a little bit before the slice, pretty much on the slice, drag all the way down. Now, if I move my first dot past my second dot, look what happens. It gets rid of the dot. So if your dot disappears, that's why. It's because you move too far. Okay. Uh-oh. If you hit your, oh, that's right. If you hit your undo button, by mistake, it just changes it back to volume for some reason. So don't freak out. Nothing disappeared. You just have to click pan again. Now, I talked about this knob earlier, right? Because it lets us control whether we hear things out of the right ear or the left ear. So when I play it now, the automation is going to control this knob. So you're going to see it go from right to left, to right to left, back and forth. Now to left. So you can see it moving. The program moves it on its own. So that's how that works. So let's go ahead and finish the automation on this every 4 hits. So we're going to scroll over a bit and we're going to keep it going. Now, as we get to the end where it starts to speed up, it's going to look a little bit different, right? Because it's going to happen faster. So I'm going to put my pan there, a dot very close after, straight down. Pan there. I'm going to keep it down to 50. Sometimes when you make one, it changes the number. You can just drag it back down to 50. Back up. All right, this is the part where it's going to start getting faster because I see my 4 hits start happening more quickly. So I make my dot. I need to move that out of the way. Make a second dot. Drag it down about where I sliced it. Dot. Second dot. And again, it's just this back and forth motion is what we're doing. All right, now when we get to the end of this, after you've panned it right, let's put our drums 2 back somewhere near the middle, right? It doesn't have to be perfectly at 0, but we're gonna set it to be in the middle so that when our drums 2 comes in, that we can hear it clearly. So if I play this from the beginning now, so I could hear that it went left and right through all that. All right. So let's go through our checklist. Did we pan the build-up guitar and the guitar slightly to the right? Yes, we did. It's at positive 28. Automate pan on drums 1 to go hard left, hard right every 4 hits. Yes, we did. All right. Did we automate the volume on the air effects to start soft and then get louder? Absolutely, we did. We did that earlier just to double check. Okay, we can see it starts soft, gets loud. All right, we can see the line goes up. If the line is going up, that means it's getting louder. And if for volume, right? All right, what's next? Automate the pan to gradually go from left to right and right to left every 4 bars. That is supposed to be for our synthesizer. Right? So, easy way to do it. It says every 4 bars. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I get to the end of 4 right before 5. And I'm going to slice. And then I believe it should be, yes. And then it finishes at the end of the second 8 bars. All right. So what I'm going to do is gradually go from left to right. So left starts first. So I go to pan. I make my dot at the beginning that starts left. I find where it's split. And I make a new dot. And where it's split, at the end of it, it should be right. Okay, so I have this line going from left to right. And then it goes from right, which is where it's already at. And at the end of it, it should finish to left. All right, so let's play with this and see what it sounds like. So you can hear it moving in your headphones from side to side. Now it's in the right side. And it's moving back to the left.
Oh my God!
All right, and there's our drop. Now, let's take a look at our build-up. I don't know about you guys, but when I listen to the build-up, it kind of is a little bit louder than everything else. Right, especially compared to the synth. So we're actually going to bring the volume of our build-up down a little bit with our automation. So I'll bring it down to like -3-ish, around there, and let's see what that's like. And then that's where our drop is. Okay. Now, if I'm still having trouble hearing like the synth, for instance, I can bring the volume of the synth up a little bit. I'm just make a dot at the beginning because I want it to stay higher. I'll put it to like +2.5, +3, around there. Now if I play it, I should be able to hear the synth a little better. I can see it moving from right to left. You can see the automation on the volume for the air.
Oh my God!
Right, so let's take a look at the automation for the air that we did earlier. You can actually see the volume slider going up, right? It starts quiet.
Oh my God!
And then it goes into the drop. All right, next we want to add a reverb effect on the voice. All right, so here's our voice. I'm going to double click my voice track, and it opens it in the bottom. Now, if I look next to where I have the green editor button, there's one that says Effects, FX. I'm going to click on that. After I've clicked on it, there are a bunch of presets here. So I'm going to click on the presets, and there are going to be a bunch of different sounds. Anything that has the name room in it, or verb, or reverb, or is any type of room like a hall or a studio, are types of reverb. So I want to make it like a super, super obvious reverb. So I'm going to select maybe a large hall. Right, large hall. So let's click on that. There's a bunch of stuff here that opens up. You don't have to fool with any of this if you don't want to. Some things to know is if you increase the room size, it increases the sound of the reverb if you do want to mess with it. So if I solo my voice,
Oh my God!
so you can hear the echo there, right? It's a type of echo. If I decrease the room size, it's going to be less obvious.
Oh my God!
Right? There's still a little bit of it afterwards, but for now, I kind of liked it when the room size is all the way up. So maybe I'll do that. It's up to you what you want to select there. So now if I listen to that with the rest of the song right on the drop, I should hear a nice echoey scream.
Oh my God!
All right, so we can very clearly hear the reverb there. Now let's take a look at the drop. All right, and we're gonna start by talking about the panning. When I have sounds competing with each other, so if their pan is coming from the same direction, then I'm going to start having difficulties hearing some of the different sounds, okay? So let me, because we panned this to 25 earlier, so let me bring it back down to 0. All right, so the way we can do this, and you get to choose which one you want to do what with, is we're gonna pan the guitar, maybe I pan it left. The bass guitar, maybe I pan it right. The drums, maybe I keep it in the middle. So choose one of these 3 instruments to keep in the middle. Choose one to pan about halfway to the right, and one to pan halfway to the left. And it should be easier to hear that way. So if I move my electric guitar maybe to like -25-ish, about halfway, and then I can go to my bass guitar and I can move it to about 25, around there. It doesn't have to be perfect, about halfway. Right? And again, make sure you put your first dot and then the second dot to move. Because if you don't make the second dot, it's going to change everything that came before it. So it's a start point and then where you're going to take it. And then, so I pan my bass guitar right because it's positive. I pan my electric guitar left because it's negative. And my drums stayed in the middle at 0. So when I play it, I should be able to hear each track a little more clearly. Electric guitar is definitely more on the right. Drums definitely in the middle. And then that would be the end of my project. One last thing is if you feel like any of these sounds are still too loud, you can automate the volume. You know, maybe I thought my electric guitar might be a little too loud. So I'm going to make a dot without kind of changing it though. And then I'll just make a second dot and bring it down some. And those are your options. Once you're done, again, you can save it. If you want to save it, just double check with your assignment brief, everything's done, and then you can submit it. If you have time after finishing this, you can create your own project. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this. Again, anything you type there, I will be able to see as the instructor. So don't put anything there that you would not want me to see. I'll submit. It'll go like this and it'll process. If you still have extra time, you can start making your own song using the automation feature by clicking on your profile, go to My Library, and you can start a personal project by clicking on the Mix Editor. And again, once you're in a new track, if you want to view all the loops, you click on Browse Loops. You click on Loops here. And here are all the sounds for you to choose from and drag and drop just like the first lesson.